Will Genshin be killed by the next hyped up gacha game, Wuthering Waves? No. I think at this point it should be clear that Genshin will be killed when it chooses to. And in more cases than none, it will be because we reached the pinnacle of Genshin, learning all there is to know, and maybe an Avengers style crossover with other Honkai games. But I do believe that there is a key to Wuthering Waves, and it may lead to a long awaited competitor that has been sorely needed for the last 4 years. So, without further ado, let's dive in to Wuthering Waves. Get it, because it's waves? No, okay. For a video about Wuthering Waves, you may come into this expecting me to exclaim that this will be the Genshin killer, and Hoyoverse should be quaking in their boots at what is to come. But honestly, to come to that conclusion, me and millions of others have to do something very simple for a game. Play it. Genshin has been around for about 4 years now, and like many others I was there for the experience of 1.0 Genshin. Genshin blew up like something I've never personally seen before, barreling into the tops of the charts and blowing up in terms of profits. People would pay millions to guarantee their game blew up as impressively as Genshin Impact. Even in the first year, they had already made themselves cemented in the gaming world as the upcoming star. The best I can do is use a basketball example. This is like LeBron James coming to the NBA, literally known as the Chosen One. And just like Genshin Impact, he's still going strong for years. Genshin Impact was by far the only game which was able to provide such a level of artistry and innovation in gacha at this time period, producing characters which made people scrape whatever they had in their wallets to be the proud puller of Kashing, Diluc, Mona, and more. Genshin has gradually over the last 4 years created an unsurmountable fortress, and it will not be killed quickly at all. Simple. People like clicks online. I'm sorry to be the hype killer, but people are so desperate to have the new shiny thing that finally beats Genshin at their own game. Which is never gonna happen from a few people playtesting in the beta and exclaiming it's done for Genshin. I am certain even if Wuthering Waves does come in with record numbers and many people leaving for Wuthering Waves over Genshin, then it will only scratch Genshin. If you imagine Genshin and Wuthering Waves as anime characters, it's like Kid Naruto going against Orochimaru. We know that Naruto has a lot of strength, but until he becomes mature, it's impossible to win against Orochimaru. Genshin and Wuthering Waves can metaphorically trade blows, but Wuthering Waves, just like Naruto, has a potentially dazzling future ahead of them if they play their cards right. This would have to be a meticulous and methodical process to feasibly say that Genshin is in any remote danger. So if the hype train is getting to any Genshin fans, of course don't be surprised when this game will not make Genshin fall into obscurity. It could even be fair to say it could lead Genshin to new heights and bring players back. I've had my fair share of looking online at people making bold claims about the bright future of Wuthering Waves, which all do manage to make some good points, and I believe there is a specific area which, if targeted properly, can cause Genshin some damage. Let's rewind a little. What does Genshin lack? They are masterful with world creation, have an in-depth story producing many creators who specialise in Genshin story, and a flashy combat system. It truly does seem that these factors make it impossible for anything to leave a dent in Genshin. But I believe I have an idea of what Genshin truly lacks, and due to stagnation and a if it ain't broke, don't fix it attitude, it is. These two things are endgame and difficulty. Let me pose a question. What was the last piece of permanent endgame content that was produced in Genshin Impact? As far as I know, all that's been made is all the way at the beginning of the life of Genshin, the Abyss. There has been nothing since the introduction of the Abyss which has added permanent features into Genshin Impact, and in my eyes, leaving a glaring weakness to exploit. Genshin's permanent endgame system is mainly made up of a few things: commissions, boss farming, and the Abyss. Doesn't it seem odd that over a 4-year period there has been 0 new pieces of permanent endgame content? Let's compare this to something like Final Fantasy XIV, which each expansion brings dungeons, raids, trials, and ultimate raids. Even with all of this content over the 2-year expansions of the games, the community still feels that the game isn't in a good place for the content. So how is it possible that one mode made in the infancy of Genshin is giving players excitement and goals 4 years down the line? Simply, it doesn't. Genshin, time and time again, have produced content on a time-based event which could be the makings of an excellent endgame system. Personally, I recall to Labyrinth Warriors, an event on the 21st of October 2021. In this mode, you'd make your way through a labyrinth, which emulates a dungeon crawling game with additional bonuses to make your character stronger. Back then, I thought this could be the uprising of a permanent mode, but sadly, 3 years later, I'm sad to say, it wasn't. It's a mixed bag, depending on your outlook on this. If you call leaving a weakness open, it is 100%. If it's to be killed by withering waves, no. As stated earlier on, it's no small feat to dethrone a king. WoW is living proof of this, being older than me and it's still in a stable place. But if Genshin wanted to fully protect their throne, why hasn't it been addressed over these years? It's fairly simple, I'd say. Their audience and their profits. Genshin, sadly to say, has a community which will die by the saying, if you don't like it, don't play it mentality, which kills anyone from pointing anything out online about the true issues in the game. I am all for supporting the game developers with praise and support, but there is a difference between protecting a stagnant game and relaying the good parts of the game you enjoy. Of course, the Genshin team is to blame because they found something that worked and never dared to push the limit. Genshin can be played on PC, mobile, and consoles, which in itself leads to a problem which is overshadowed by the potential popularity. Difficulty. For years, Genshin's hardest aspect is getting your character to level up and getting artifacts. That is the difficulty, but it is only statistical difficulty. Genshin's two main levels of skill are optimization and rotations. If you manage to get these down, which is a long grind, you can beat the Abyss with the right teams. But that's it. Dodging has got less and less important as the game goes on. If you get hurt, get a Kokomi or a Zhongli, and the problem is mostly solved. So once you have pushed to become the very best and beat the Abyss, what do you have to show for it? Maybe a temple? Maybe valuable resources? Just 90 primos more? That has been the endgame for Genshin for a very long time, and they have never pushed for a different endgame mode. Genshin's biggest flaw is this in my eyes. Additionally, you do have some interesting things that happen to your characters once you undertake the journey to beat the Abyss. You can kill their fun in the open world. Gone are the times of fighting hilly trails, dodging to survive, close calls, and so much more. Now just take your team with your favourite characters and click E over and over until they die. By making your team prepare for the endgame of Genshin, enemies become laughably weak. Never again in the entire time of Genshin has the world level gone up to compensate this. They just repeat the same cycle as 1.0. Well, I haven't had access to the game yet, and will be waiting for the wreaths, just like all of you. But from some diving into Wuthering Waves, there is quite a bit of hope for a challenging game and hopefully a diverse endgame experience, which may just be an issue of level right now, but this leaves a hopeful outlook that you will need to have mastery over the game to really beat the bosses, which haven't been done yet. It's a rocky road right now for Wuthering Waves, as they are soul-searching for their identity. If they see what I see, then there is a good chance for them to make a spot in the forefront of gacha games in my eyes. However, if they fall victim to making the game too easy, they will become a weaker version of Genshin. The only way they'd survive this is endgame content, which is Genshin's other weakness. If done correctly, they will start to make a dent into Genshin, and may start taking players away from Genshin. Hoyoverse has got Senna's Zero coming a month after, but it won't help in terms of an open world game. As far as I can tell, it's a Honkai 3rd-like game, not an open world game like Genshin, so thankfully for Wuthering Waves they stand a great chance. No, I only criticise the game so heavily because they have a deep love for the game. Nothing so far has really captivated me like Genshin did at the beginning, and I yearn for a time to come when I feel that way again. As the saying goes, adversity breeds excellence. Genshin right now is in an arrogant position, with nothing standing in their way, and I want them to see that other games are going to wage war on the parts that you carelessly leave untouched. The best situation is, for me, Wuthering Waves will create adversity for Genshin. Instead of going through their pre-planned material, They will have to be creative and conjure up new things to bring Genshin from its stagnant state. Then we will have two amazing games, which both improve to beat the other, making two incredible options. But, just like others, I am not a psychic. We can only gauge how things may turn out. We will not be able to predict this until we get our hands on the game. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. This is my first ever video going off of a script, and I apologise if it is choppy in places or if the music's too loud. I have tried my best to make a good video though. I wanted to just add my 2 cents to the discussions online because I feel like my ideas may be interesting to other people, but they are also, my ideas only. They could be completely incorrect, so don't think that what I say is gospel. It is just my own opinion. Genshin is a good game, but I just want it to be even better. I want it to strive to be the best, not the same. But thank you for making it all the way to the end. If you could like and subscribe, I'd be extremely thankful. It's a new channel. If this video does manage to get a couple of views, I may consider making another one. If it does go the other way though, and a lot of people dislike it, I may take it down in the future, because I do not wish to ruffle any feathers with anyone, so I hope you enjoyed.